Hi guys, it's Sam from Bargain.hunting.blonde, and today I am here to talk to you all about a very controversial topic that has been all over TikTok and then now YouTube, Instagram, all the places you can get any sort of like news media, and that is, are all our luxury bags made in China? So a little backstory, and you guys probably have already heard about this or seen the videos, but a ton of different videos came out now about like 2 weeks ago on TikTok talking about how all luxury goods are actually made in these Chinese factories, and that if you want to get them for less, you can buy them directly from the factory. Those are the allegations in the videos. And you know, one of the videos, for example, shows a Birkin, which they incorrectly say costs $38,000, which if any of you shop Hermes, you know that is not retail. And honestly, for the bag they were holding up, which I think was like a Birkin 25 or Birkin 30 in what looked like a tube, that's above even like Preloved / resale that I've seen. And then they're saying you can get it for like, I think it was like 1,400, 1,500. So those are the videos I'm talking about here. And I just wanted to share with you guys all my thoughts, have a discussion on this. I'm a little behind because life gets in the way, and I spent all of last weekend, instead of filming, rereading numerous times a deposition transcript for something I am representing our company in as a third party, and we're not even a party, and I got very frustrated, and so I did not get to film. So I'm a little behind, but without further ado, let's dive in. So my main takeaway I want to say out of all of this is like what I think about it is, one, I would not be surprised if certain parts of luxury goods, certain pieces, are manufactured in China. I just want to throw it out there to everyone that just because something is manufactured in China does not mean that it is bad quality. You can have things made in any country in the world and it can be great quality or bad quality. So I think that's like the starting point, is just because something's manufactured in China does not mean it's bad, and I would not be surprised if there are parts of all the luxury things we buy that are made in China. So that's number one. But number two, do I think things like the Hermes Birkin are made in China? No. And that's actually because Hermes is very transparent with their processes, like where the hides come from, the tanneries, where the artisans are located. They're very open about that. And so maybe some pieces come from China, but the actual like assembling, the leather, all of that, they're very open with that. And maybe there are certain pieces from, you know, we've seen the scandal with Dior and how cheaply made and how bad the working conditions were for certain workers. And it wouldn't surprise me if maybe something from Louis Vuitton is 100% from China. I think Coach and Longchamp are pretty honest with where their bags are coming from. And I think they do have pieces that come from China. So that's kind of like the starting point, is like, do I believe all these truths coming out on TikTok? No. Do I believe there's probably some facts there? Yes, but I think it's kind of been a known thing in the luxury community that just because something says like made in Italy or made in the US does not mean it's fully made in the US. You know, sometimes you'll see something on something that says like made in the US of parts from China or something like that. So I could see that being the case here. But I think for the first thing I really want to talk about is, just because you see it on TikTok does not mean it's true. And I think that's one thing that really got to me with this, is like social media, like literacy. Like, you can look into it a little more. Don't just believe it because you see a bunch of TikTok videos about it, especially because what is going to take on social media is things that are controversial. So the more crazy your claims are, the more views they get, and then the more the algorithm picks it up and shows it to more and more people. So like, the more outlandish of the things you're saying, the more it's going to get picked up in the algorithm. So I just wish that when this was all starting and like everyone's jumping on this bandwagon, that there'd be some thought of like, this is on TikTok, maybe I should go like look into this a little more. I mean, there's a whole book from the 2010s called Deluxe: How Luxury Lost Its Luster, which is really good, and I highly recommend you read. I'll link it down below because I think it's still for sale on Amazon. Or your library has it. That's where I read mine from, copy from. It talks about this. It's a known thing that, you know, there has been some manufacturing that's been done in other parts of the country besides Europe, or other parts of the world, excuse me, besides Europe. So that's number one. Like, please look into your facts from TikTok and not just accept what is on TikTok. And then as for the videos, as I mentioned, like the one about the Birkin, which was 38,000, that's not how much a Birkin costs. So like right away, that should be like a flag for you. The quality of the videos are surprisingly bad when we get great quality videos like from our iPhones now. I don't film on an iPhone, but I know lots of people do, and you can get great quality out of that. So that should be another flag. We have like just this weird, I guess just like we see it on social media and we just accept it. And I just like wish we would look more into like the facts, consider the algorithm. Like it's just how the algorithms work, and we need to like think a little more before we just accept. So that's my number one. And then number two is it's really honestly good marketing for these companies, like regardless of if it's true or not. Like I said, the algorithm picks it up. They're clearly wanting to sell their goods. There's probably some concerns with the tariffs coming into play and how much that might impact their market for these fake items. And if you watch Tanner Smith, Leatherstein Tanner Smith, I can't remember his exact name, I'll put it down below. He did a really short, quick video, and he just basically points out how like even in their video with the prices they're giving you of how much it's costing them to make these bags, these fake bags, as he points out numerous times in his video, there's a markup in there. So they are trying to make a profit as well. So they're not even just selling it to you for what it costs them. So like clearly this is a marketing scheme, and I think we, and I say that we as like the general sense, just kind of all like seem to miss that with these initial videos. Like they are trying to sell something to us. And on that note, dupes have been around for forever. This is not new. If any of you have any sort of like luxury bags that you post even on like your private-ish page, because some of that stuff you can still see on other parts of the internet, do not be surprised, and I would not be surprised if you don't have these dupe, fake, I prefer to call them fakes, but they could normally call them dupes, fake replica resellers reaching out to you. Like they have pages all over the internet. I probably get like 3 to 5 DMs a week from these sellers. So this is not anything that's new, and it's weird that it's something that seems to be like taking over the world like it's new. These fakes and these replicas are not new at all. And I also wanted to comment a little bit on what Dale said in her video, which I'll link down below, which I thought was really good. And she talked about how it's this weird intersection of people who seem to like want luxury goods but can't necessarily afford them, so then they're trying to like justify buying fakes or replicas, and this is kind of a way to do that. And it's a way to be seen as like almost like, you know, you're saving money, which I get, they are cheaper than the real bag, but like they're not the real bag. And it's kind of people trying to like convince themselves of what they're buying is real. And I just think that's interesting because a lot of times people are buying replicas, fakes, because like they don't want to play in the luxury world, which is fine, even if they have the money for it. That's just, they don't want to be spending it on that. But you still want like the, for lack of a better word, like prestige that comes with luxury is a really weird dichotomy that doesn't really make sense to me. And Dale kind of talked about that too. It's just like a weird, you want luxury, but you don't want to pay the price for luxury. So then you buy fakes, but then you try to pretend like the luxury industry is bad, but the fakes capitalize on the like goodwill or the prestige people see with these brands. It's just a really weird spot to be in, and it's doesn't totally make sense when you really try to think about it very hard, but it's interesting. And then the second thing that I wanted to talk about, which Dale brought up, which made me actually laugh when she said in the video, is there are thousands to potentially millions of people who work in these factories, both the factories that are producing real authentic bags and then the factories that are making the replicas and the counterfeit bags. And it's literally thousands to millions of people, and there's no way that many people could keep a giant secret that like all Hermes bags were made in China. There's no way that would happen. There's no way that not someone would not say something somewhere before this whole like thing blew up on the internet. Like this would have been like a known secret for a long time. There's no way that many people can keep a secret, and I totally agree with her because I don't even think a handful of people could keep a secret. And then lastly, which is something that came to mind immediately for me when I started like hearing about this, is if these were factories like they say they are, that are making the authentic goods for, let's just say Louis Vuitton, there is no way that they would be talking about it on social media unless they wanted to lose the Louis Vuitton contract. And they wanted to no longer have that contract. They wanted to no longer be making those pieces. They also would be liable for lots of damage and would be sued under the contract. I can guarantee you that that contract would not allow them to be publicly out and speaking, probably one, speaking about it, but then two, also like selling the goods allegedly from the contract, or like selling goods that they learned how to make because they have the contract. Like, that is just not going to happen. And that has been one of those rumors or like marketing tactics that the counterfeit sellers have been using for literal years. Like, the one, like, they always say, they'll say something along the lines of like, it's an authentic good from the same factory, or like some weird sort of like combination of words that make you sound like they're saying it's authentic, but it's not. They're just trying to tell you like, oh, we allegedly make the bags here, so then that one also makes this one authentic, or like made with like scraps of authentic bags and all of that. All of that is just a way to say like, this is not a bag from the brand. It is not an authentic bag. And so I think with all of this going on, we all know as luxury consumers, if you're watching this and you are one, that we are definitely paying a markup on our items for the brand. We are paying a markup for way more than the actual like pieces cost. You know, I think one of the biggest like things that people don't understand who are just getting into the luxury community is like this bag, which is very vintage, but like the only things on this bag that are actually leather are this trim and the handle and like the little things that hold the handle onto the bag. Like, the rest of this bag is not leather. Like, this is canvas. Canvas is not expensive. It's just coated cotton. And so I think, you know, we all know that we are paying a portion of what we are paying is for other things, and is also just profit. Like, that's how these companies make money, is there is a big gap between what the actual cost of goods is and then what they're selling it for. And so there's always been that markup, and maybe it's just people are dissatisfied with the markup. It has gotten really, really high, right? Like, I have a tendency to like to look on the Preloved market. I generally know prices for Hermes, but I don't pay a lot of attention to a lot of other brands, their retail prices, because I'm like, oh, I'll probably just buy that Preloved. And so, you know, there'll be moments where I'm looking at bags, or like I bought this bag now a little over a year ago, and I did not realize how expensive the Andiamo had gotten. Like, I started scrolling and I was looking at some of the kind of bigger sizes, and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize the like large one, the biggest one, is $10,000. That's so expensive. And so maybe some of this is also just coming from people are really disheartened with kind of the economy and then how expensive the goods have gotten and how they just continue to rise and rise. And so it's coming out in this justification for buying fakes and replicas. So overall, have we always been paying too much for luxe? Yes. Is there potential that parts of bags, or maybe even certain whole bags for certain luxury houses, are made in China? Yes. That does not mean it's bad. That does not mean that the claims these TikToks are making are real. They're not. They're just trying to sell something to you. And their marketing is working. Honestly, the marketing guy should get a raise. Like, he is doing a great job. It's gotten a ton of traction. It has everyone talking about it. I mean, even people who aren't in the luxury space have heard about it. I just wish that, in general, the whole population would just do a little more critical thinking when it comes to what they're seeing on social media. Because TikToks, social media, all the algorithms are feeding you what is most popular, and what is most popular is normally what is most controversial. So that is a little bit of my TED Talk soapbox about all of this, but I'd love to know what you guys think. Like, do you think there's any justification or any truth to the claims that like all these things are made in China? Do you think that's necessarily a bad thing? Do you think maybe it's just opening consumers' eyes to like what they're really buying? I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear what you guys think. I just think it definitely does point out flaws in the luxury system, you know, the marketing, the buying, but it doesn't, to me, justify buying the replicas and the fakes that you see on TikTok. So thank you so much for tuning in today to my extremely chatty video. If you don't want to comment down below, I also would love to talk on DMs and Instagram, so please feel free to DM me. Thank you so much for tuning in today, guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.